Testing, 1, 2. This is a test. One, two, three. Okay. Let's see what happens today. We are going to mute this. Okay, I'm just giving a couple. We've got a couple of minutes still here. Come on, come on, come on. And it just has to happen now that my Stream Deck has to blow up on me. What do we got here? I got frames. Well, I'm not getting, YouTube is not receiving enough video to mainstream. Having a bit of technical difficulties here. It's buffering. Here we are going live. Although I'm not getting any streams. Why is YouTube telling me I see that there is a second person, a second viewer, concurrent viewer. It's too bad that YouTube Live doesn't tell you who's viewing. It tells you how many are viewing, but not who's viewing. Well, I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? Maybe it could be. It could be because this is running. It still hasn't finished yet. Let me see if I can't just fix something real quick here. Good day, bon samedi à tous. J'espère que vous me voyez assez bien avec le... J'ai l'air que mon ordi est un peu chargé en moment. Que j'utilise à faire la diffusion live avec. Je vais juste vérifier quelque chose ici. If I go with this. J'arrive dans une seconde. Je veux juste... process above normal, apply. We'll see if that will be better for streaming. So please, by all means, feel free to send me comments through the YouTube comment, through my YouTube channel. S'il vous plaît, n'hésitez pas à m'envoyer des commentaires en travers de YouTube, directement sur ma chaîne YouTube. Pour ceux... So, comme j'ai annoncé, as I mentioned earlier in the post with the on Facebook, in the Facebook group, there were a few things that I'm was going to announce today. One of the things is a new email address that you can all reach me at if you have photography questions, as I'm always looking for and kind of run out of subjects to talk about. I mean, there are a lot of subjects out there, granted, but à un moment donné, you know, with everything that's going on in our lives, we tend to, you know, it just tends to be a little bit harder to create all kinds of subjects that we can talk about. So what I've done is I've created an alias, an email alias that you can all send questions to. J'ai créé puis je vais le poster encore une autre fois sur le groupe. C'est que j'ai créé un alias de courriel. Puis l'adresse, ça s'appelle photo, question, commercial andrew-james.ca. So I created for you to be able to submit topics and questions and anything that you might want me to speak about here on the live stream, and or in recorded episodes, which I'm in the process of building one on since last week. Pour ceux qui m'ont vu peut-être sur Facebook, non pas Facebook, excusez, Instagram, j'ai fait un live justement samedi passé sur un sortie que j'ai fait moi-même, que j'avais descendu à Roxton Falls. Je suis en train juste de monter la partie vidéo et audio. Puis je viens de finir cette semaine le pellicule un des pellicules, parce que justement celui du Leica il est pas terminé encore. So what I did, I developed my 120 film, which I had a little bit of a problem with on Tuesday night when I tried to do my live stream of the development session. In the meantime, you can send all questions on photography to photoquestions@andrew-james.ca. So that's one of my first announcements. Another announcement is for the next few months, well, probably for the whole season of summer and into the fall. I've got a lot of things going on this summer, weddings and excursions with Gosselin, hoping that the Gosselin excursions will start up not constantly, but frequently this summer. Where was I going with that? Now I completely forgot. Damn. Oh, yes. I'm going to stop the challenges, the photography challenges for the summer, and probably much into the fall. And instead, I'm going to continue, though, as I've gotten comments from a few of you, to keep doing the critiques. So this will be... We will go through and see if there's anything in the album for Winter Wildlife. And then as of next month, or the end of this month, I should say, which will be the next episode for the photography critiques, we will just continue on critiquing any photos that you as a group submit to the Photography with AJ group. I will continue doing the critiques, as I've been getting a lot of feedback on at least keeping the critiques. There just won't be any thematic challenges for a while. I'll leave you to your own devices. Aussi, an autre annonce. I don't know if you've probably seen and heard that with the help of one of our members here, Fabrizio Rosato, nous avons parti une deuxième groupe Facebook qui est principalement aussi en présentiel. It's a Facebook book group that came from the brainchild of Fabrizio Rosato and I, based on film photography. So it's called RDP Argentique. Ça s'appelle RDP Argentique. And basically it's for anybody who does film photography, who wants to get into film photography. And we meet once a month in person, en présentiel, at Al's Subs in RDP. Anybody can come. It's an open group. It's an open, hey, Mark, how's it going? Just making some announcements here. I hope everybody can hear and see me. I know that for a moment there, YouTube was complaining about my stream, but I'm hoping that there's enough stream going out there. I'm going to have to check and see what's going on with my... I'm pretty sure this is not just my laptop, but also my Videotron bandwidth is I don't know what's been happening over here with the bandwidth, but I am in the process. I'm seriously starting to regret the Videotron, my Videotron internet bandwidth over here. It's not strong and it's not I guess hefty enough. So yeah, we started, and Mark, as a matter of fact, was one of our founding members of the film photography group. Again, it's called RDP Argentique. Even though it's RDP, anybody from Montreal, specifically around Montreal, can be a member. It's a public group. We decided not to make it a private group, but more of a... and basically what it is every month we get together at Al's. If you have new cameras, or if you have cameras that you want to bring by and you want an explanation, or you have a question about the camera or about a film, by all means, come to the restaurant. It's usually, I think we've decided more or less the last Wednesday of the month. And it usually, people start getting there around 5:30, but you can show up anytime between, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Encore, c'est au restaurant. C'est la dernière. Normalement, j'essaie de céduler ça le dernier mercredi du mois. Puis les gens commencent vers 5h30, 6h à se rendre. Justement, moi, je suis à Montréal, surtout ces journées-là. Fait que je suis plus proche pour rejoindre à tous. Et puis que vous venez avec l'appareil photo en argentique que vous avez, que ça soit du noir et blanc, que ça soit du couleur, peu importe. Si vous avez des questions sur les appareils eux-mêmes ou peut-être même sur les différentes pellicules, on est quand même une bonne gang qui en a déjà fait, qui ont un petit historique avec l'argentique. So by all means, if you're interested, but again, it's more of a group that is, we wanted something that was more présentiel, more in-person type thing, just to get together. As a matter of fact, another announcement, which is kind of linked a little bit to the group, to this new group, which can also be an event here for us, who I would invite you on the 24th of April if it interests you. And if you have a pinhole lens for your digital camera, or if you have a pinhole camera for film photography, the 24th of April this year is International Pinhole Day. And I've already posted, or I should say Fab's already posted a post on both groups. We're going to be meeting at Île des Moulins in Terrebonne on the 24th at 10 a.m. And we'll probably be there for a good at least 2 or 3 hours, if not, depending on what we can shoot there. Bonjour, Monsieur Dumais-Blais, comment ça va? Ben oui, ça fait longtemps qu'on ne s'est pas vu, surtout avec le diffusion live. J'espère que mon stream est correct pour tout le monde. Mais surtout aussi, bienvenue à un autre épisode. Je suis en train de faire quelques petites annonces, justement. So now that we have a couple of people here who are. I'm just going to check and see how many people do we got concurrent viewers. Hold on just a sec. But I see that Marc and Monsieur Dumais are in the chat. I'm just going to take a quick look here. I'm going to let my browser refresh. Here it comes. And yeah. Hold on just a second. I want to just check one more thing. This is this. Do that. Stream health is good. So it's getting better now. So it's getting better. Good. I'm glad to see it. Le stream est parfait là. Merci pour le feedback, Monsieur Dumais. On this end, I'm just keeping my OBS. I'm just making sure it stays at 30 frames per second, and I'm trying to get as best signal as I can. Si vous avez des questions, s'il vous plaît, utilisez le chat de YouTube. For all of you who are connecting slowly, as you connect, you please use the chat to interact with me for now. I gotta find another way. I'm gonna see about doing some kind of live interaction. Maybe doing it through my Zoom, where you guys can call into my Zoom and participate live with me on these episodes. Pour répéter un peu quelques nouvelles que j'ai annoncées, c'est qu'on va changer ce format de ces présentations de révisionnement des photos et critiques. C'est-à-dire que pour le reste de l'année, pour l'instant, cet été et cet automne, je vais arrêter les challenges, les défis, mais je vais garder la critique, l'analyse critique que je fais, la révision critique que je fais à chaque fin du mois. C'est juste maintenant, ça va être plutôt général sur les photos qui sont présentées dans le groupe. Fait que pour ça, je pense que ça va être très intéressant. J'ai reçu quelques commentaires de certaines personnes en travers de le nouveau groupe que j'ai fondé avec Fabrizio Rosato, RDP Argentique. Puis on va garder la partie analyse critique, juste ça va être plutôt, il n'y aurait pas de défi pour l'instant. Et puis je vais remplacer ça aussi avec quelques nouveaux épisodes en genre table ronde ou entrevue. Surtout, je suis en train de juste... j'ai un demande qui m'a demandé de vous montrer, de faire un épisode. Ça se peut que ça va arriver dans les prochaines quelques journées, là. Je vais faire un épisode sur comment préparer vos photos de Lightroom ou Photoshop, puis les envoyer chez les tireurs pour faire tirer, pour faire imprimer. Alors, bonne résolution et autant bonne résolution que le bon ratio. Ça. Oh, puis aussi, j'ai introduit je vous introduis un nouveau courriel, adresse de courriel que vous pouvez utiliser dès maintenant. Ça s'appelle Photoquestion, PHOTOQUESTIONS, A commercial andrew-james.ca. So if you have any questions on photography, be it shooting, be it post-treatment, be it, or I should say post-processing, developing anything at all on photography, please submit it to photoquestions@andrew-james.ca. I'll post it formally or officially on the Facebook group also. What else? I don't know if any of you have anything today that you might want to add for me or have me add to the discussion. But I think without much more delay, we will go into... let me just pull it up on my screen so that I can stream it to you. Let's just we'll check the album first and see if there was anything new here. Excuse me. So we're good. The album, okay. I'm going to switch it back over, and we're just going to go back through the photos from the last time we got together here. Just a sec now. Is somebody here? I think Fab. Yes, Fab wants me to also announce that to you guys. We for the first time at the RDP Argentique, we will be discussing. Voyons. We'll have a couple of formal on the spot conferences on the art of film photography. He's blowing up my. Hold on now. He's blowing up my comments over here. On the l'art de la photographie argentique. Hold on just a second. I got a dry spot on my. I'm going through the photos trying to find the last images here that we've seen. You know what? We're gonna do it from, where are we gonna do it from? We're gonna start from over here. Yeah, I think that's good. This one I remember this one we did. No, go the other way. Okay. Give me a second. I gotta just get to that last image that we looked at. Okay, we're gonna start with this one here. And this is it. Okay, so let's bring everything up. We're going to start with, I gotta pull up my, where is it? Screen number 2. So here we have Fab's. Here we have a submission from Fab, une soumission de Fabrizio en portrait. Fantastique, noir et blanc. J'adore l'éclairage. La pose. C'était fait à Studio 27. Fab, what can I say? It's a beautiful, beautiful black and white. You know, I don't know if this was. No, this is not Pinhole. This is really. I don't know what Fab used for the exposure on this one. He forgot to put it in the description, but as far as the black and white portrait goes, it's a beautiful, beautiful shot. The only thing that might have we could have maybe, to make it a little bit better, would be just to brighten a little bit up more the eyes, and just underexpose or dim a little bit of the lighting on her hand. As the difference between the lighting on her hand and her eyes, the hand kind of takes a little bit away from her expression on her face. But other than that, Fab, it's a fantastic image. What can I tell you? It's beautiful. The eyes are properly in focus. Your depth of field includes all of her face, which is exactly what we look for. C'est exactement qu'est-ce qu'on cherche. Comme je vous dis, ça serait juste de peut-être faire un petit ajustement dans l'éclairage sur sa main versus ses yeux, pour se faire sortir un peu, pour ouvrir les yeux un peu plus. But other than that, Fab is a beautiful, fantastic shot here. We're going to go on to the next. I believe is also a Fabrizio, black and white. Yes, it is. And again, here is a beautiful, beautiful shot of a female portrait. I love this. We even have a couple of comments on this image. I keep these images myself. Je les garde pour que je fasse les commentaires. Je préfère de faire mes commentaires en ligne avec vous sur la diffusion live que les mettre. Mais comme je vous dis aussi, comme j'ai déjà dit aussi, j'essaie de si je vais liker je sais que c'est pas le bon mot là, mais si je vais aimer un photo, soit que ça soit sur Instagram, Facebook ou Instagram, j'essaie strictement Et fortement, si ça, comment je pourrais dire ça? You know, to get away from the whole swipe left, and just breeze through all the images that we are bombarded with on these social networks. I won't like an image unless I actually take the time to look at it and put in a 2 or 3 line comment about what impresses me about that photograph. Okay. Um, because when I look at the photography, I like to sit down and absorb the story that the photographer is presenting us in this image. And again, you know, photography is light, it's expression, it's emotion. C'est l'art de la photographie. Pour moi, là, ça vient vraiment du cœur. Um, so, you know, dans ces instances-là, c'est la seule raison pourquoi vous ne verrez pas peut-être de moi euh, les pouces dans les airs ou les petites cœurs. C'est parce que vraiment, je veux partager de quoi que j'aime bien de cette photo, qu'est-ce qui m'impressionne le plus. On continue. Oops. Ah, Mark with his... Here we got Mark and his Photoshop expertise. Great shot here. I like the fact also that Mark, when he copied on his mask with the pipe, that the sharpness of it looks like a mask. It really does look like a mask. The lighting on the portraits are pretty good. Pretty good only for the comment of the key light in this image should have been dialed down by at least a third of a stop, because we're just losing a little bit too much on Mark's forehead. The focus is fantastic. The lighting is beautiful, fantastic lighting. Mark here used a loop lighting. I don't know if he realized that. And actually, in both images, the loop lighting, you can see it here. This shadow of the nose here. This is where we get the loop lighting from. Did a fantastic shot. Uncle Bob, great imagination. Mark, I mean, listen, you know, what can I say? You've gotten better with the years that you've been practicing, and that's the main secret about photography, is that it you know, it takes practice. The more you practice, that's where you really excel, is from practice. So great shot there, Mark. Here we have Uncle Bob with his flyover. I think I might be repeating myself in this one, but you know, I know this was towards the end of last episode. Beautiful shot. I love the blue sky. It just works so well. Don't worry about the 2 bands on either side of the... It's not part of the image. It's the interface, because I'm holding my cursor over the arrows over here. It's what you call it? It's Facebook's... There, you see, it's disappeared now. But I love the colors, the contrasts. The focus is really well portrayed here. Uncle Tio, great job, fantastic job. I love it. We have another one here of a, this is more of a sunset without the sun, but an early evening shot. And is this? No, this can't be. No, I don't think it is. But this is a boat at port. Excuse me. I love the composition. You know, there's more than enough sky. The clouds balance the ship. Balance the dock. It's really well, a beautiful shot here, Uncle. That's not because you're my uncle that it's a wonderful shot. It's just, it really is a beautiful shot. Good job. Fab with some more of his graphic art. And this one here, if I'm not mistaken, this is looks like a double exposure. Fab could probably, let's just see if Fab has anything here. Yeah, yeah. Let me see here. Fab can let us know, but I believe this here is it's kind of like a multiple exposure, um, and it looks like a steno. I keep calling stenopé, but plutôt un photo pinhole sur l'avant-plan. Et puis, il a appliqué un texture par-dessus. It wouldn't even surprise me if this would be one of Fab's famous iPhone or Android photos. Fab's a big mobile phone shooter too. Here we've got some more. This is a beautiful shot. It looks almost. I was gonna, at first glimpse when I turned to look at it, ça a l'air comme si c'était du feu qui sortait du verre au-dessus, mais c'est réellement plutôt du fumé ou la boucane. Let me see. Texture. Okay, c'est ça. The Fab added a texture to the photo, the preceding photo. And also, texture only. Okay. And also, I want you to look at this image. I'm hoping it's coming out well on the screen because this is my 4K. My second screen's a 4K screen. In the sense that it's a fourth. I think it's a 3000 by 2000 pixel screen rather than 1080 or 1920 by 1080p. In this image, the grain, not the grain, I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong word, but the noise in this photo works. It just adds that much more character to the photo. Oh, here we go. C'est la vapotage. It's vaping. It's a vaping smoke. Um, again, and this is my rage against the machine when it comes to specifically when it comes to photography. Ma rage contre la machine en photographie, c'est à quel point qu'on s'en va chercher une certaine précision, un grand précision en photographie numérique. And you don't need that precision. When I show people images that I shoot at 6400 ISO in digital, and I compare it to 100 ISO film, it's ridiculous how sharp and how clean the images in digital are, even at 6400 ISO. Today I was shooting my daughter in her horseback riding class, and we were in the arena. And I don't know if you ever shot in the arenas inside equestrian centers, but the lighting is just absolute crap. And I had to literally pump my camera right up to 40,000 ISO to be able to get a 1/200th or a 1/320th of a second aperture, not aperture, sorry, but shutter speed to freeze my subject at the largest aperture, in my case, which is 6.3 on my lens. And the noise is next to, and it's very manageable. I won't say next to nothing. I was going to say next to nothing, but that was more 6400. It's next to nothing. But at 40,000 ISO, I'm not going to blow it up at 16 by 24 or at 24 by 36, but it'll make a perfectly fine 8 by 12. I would say maybe even a 10 by 15. We're so programmed to see sharpness and to see proper, a proper quantity of light and such freezing of motion that it takes away from the image. It takes away from not from the image, but from the moment. Okay, this gives me the impression of something almost alchemist working potions in a dungeon or in a cave. I love these types of shots. And it's since I've gone back to shooting film in the last 2 years that it's brought back my appreciation for this type of I would say nostalgic even, but style of imagery, where it's not how sharp something is, it's not how frozen a subject is, it's the story in the image, Good job, Fab. I love this shot. I really do love this shot. And again, the first time I looked at it, I thought it was flame that he was pouring out of the. I thought it was a shot glass, personally. And here's the image itself. And here you go. This is exactly what he was doing. Oh, yeah, this is where precision comes in really nice, though. I got to admit, having some nice precise, some nice pristine images when it comes to cars, there's nothing like this. Um, Here we've got Fab with his auto portrait. Fantastic shot. I love the front end of this SS. I don't know if it's his car, if it's one of his collectors, but it's a beautiful shot. Really nice. I love and the way that he's cropped it so that everything is centered. It almost looks like an upside down face. The eyes on the bottom. Really nice. Actually, the image it's interesting. It would even be interesting to see the image flipped on the 180. Ça serait très intéressant de voir ça à l'envers parce que le SS resterait la même. C'est juste que maintenant les lumières de brume seraient les yeux. En tout cas, it's my little addition, but the shot is beautiful. The colors are fantastic. The exposure is, the grill's black. Beautiful shot. Fantastic shot. Oh, vintage MG. I love these types of cars. I've got to check out and see when the next car shows are going to be starting and try to follow them here around Montreal. Moi, mon fils, il adore ces shows d'auto-là that pop up in public parks around, around Montreal, here in Quebec with the vintage car associations. But vraiment bien réussi dans celui-là aussi, l'éclairage, la mise au point. We see that the sharpness is really on the emblem of MG, which brings to the car. That's where we look first, and then we see the headlights, we see the horn, we see the grill, we see the radiator cap. Beautiful shot. Beautiful cars. Packard. We got a Packard 12 cylinder Packard. Beautiful. I love, and hubcaps. It's like, it's really, really nice. Fantastic. Fab. We've got a beautiful vintage Corvette, and it wouldn't surprise me if this was a Stingray, if I remember correctly, this grille here. And it works, and look at how well it works in black and white. That's one thing about chrome, is la chrome marche tellement bien en noir et blanc. On voit même les éclats de lumière, tout représente un visage. Ici, on pourrait dire même presque un visage comme voyons, trying to say shark in French. En tout cas, le nom m'échappe, là, mais vous savez qu'est-ce que je veux dire. Cars for me are, and the beautiful thing about cars too is you don't need the whole car to show which car it is. Cars have certain features that you just know what the car looks like after that. After seeing that one particular feature, be it the grille, be it the bumpers, be it the headlights, be it the hubcaps. I see Fab's got more comments over here. Let's see what he says. We'll leave you open there, Fab, in case you have more comments. How's that? What else have we got here? A beautiful, beautiful silhouette. Even to the point where even in the silhouette, we still see enough detail on the orange. No worries there, Fab. Enjoy the family. You can always look back on the YouTube channel afterwards. They are recorded. Inquiétez-vous pas pour ça, là, Monsieur Rosato. But again, look at how well, cette image-là, là, juste la silhouette, comment est-ce que ça marche bien. On voit, moi, j'adore les oranges, mais on voit très bien que c'est un orange et pas une pomme à cause de la texture sur le pot, sur le dessus. Mais encore, c'est un très beau, c'est une très belle photo. Cadrage. c'est quand même un cadrage qui est spécial parce qu'il est serré, il est tellement serré, mais c'est quand même très intéressant comme photo. Fantastic shot there. Here we have again the same orange, and again this is just a play with light. It's basically that's all Fab's doing here is playing with the light, which is working out perfectly for this shot. Here we've got Uncle Bob with the landing of one of the planes. This is one of his vacations. Fantastic shot here, and it works so well in black and white. I mean, there's enough nuances of gray tones in this image to make this photo work. The sharpness is fantastic, and Uncle Bob is and I get a lot of my shooting techniques from Uncle Bob in the sense that he has many different cameras, small sensor, large sensor, film cameras. I always remembered him with different types of film cameras, be it point and shoots, be it automatic cameras, right down to the 35 millimeters. Before me, he shot 2.25. He had a 2.25, which I'm in the process of trying to and it's the big story between he and I. I lost one of his 2.25 cameras, which I'm still in the process of trying to rummage through my deep pit here in my den. To try to to see if I really misplaced it, but in the process I'm also trying to replace it myself as soon as possible. But again, all of this to say that Uncle Bob was never just a photographer of a certain quality of camera. He shot with whatever he had in hand. He shot with small point and shoot 35 millimeters. He shot with Nikon Fs. And if you were there, si t'étais là durant la dernière réunion en présentiel de RDP Argentique, mon oncle qui avait porté avec lui quelques Nikon, il me semble que c'était un FTN puis un FE, je pense, si je me rappelle bien, ou un F, mais c'est ça, il y a un Olympus XA1, je pense, ou XA4, ou dans ce style-là aussi. But, il était pas nécessairement tout le temps avec un gros SLR avec 4, 5, 6 objectifs. Des fois, il y avait juste des, comme on dit en bon anglais, des point and shoot. Beautiful shot. I love this shot. I love this shot so much that it's, here you kind of, you see it in the corner of your eye, but the man in the mirror, look at the mirror in the first scooter. I mean, that's the image. The rest is secondary to that subject. C'est vraiment bien conçu. C'est vraiment a beautiful, and I mean, listen, black and white, it talks so much louder than color. I won't say most of the time, but I will say, well, not all of the time, but I will say most of the time. If you can represent your story in black and white, it will always, in my eyes, always be a little bit stronger, that story. But this is a fantastic shot. Depth of field, what can I say? Here we have another from Fabrizio, Abstraction. So here we have a puddle with a little bit of ice and asphalt, I'm assuming, or it could be gravel. But still, look at the forms. Garde les formes. Garde les tu sais, même l'effet d'avoir la réflexion du ciel dans dans pas la gouttelette, là, mais voyons. Sorry, guys. Mon français, il m'échappe aujourd'hui. The puddle. La flaque d'eau, merci. La flaque d'eau. Fait que, here we've got another beautiful shot here from Christophe. Beautiful shot. I love... The only thing, c'est la seule chose qui me chipote un peu avec cette photo-là. J'adore le vista, la volume de cette photo-là. C'est juste vraiment, on voit que l'horizon il est un peu décalé à gauche. T'sais, il aurait dû être, au pire, arrangé en post-traitement. Mais quand même, le bleu du ciel, on voit qu'il y a peut-être un certain traitement qui a été appliqué aussi. Ou peut-être c'était juste un brume dans le ciel en tant que tel. Mais la mise au point, il est bien réussi. L'avant-plan, il est net. L'arrière-plan, il est net. Mais c'est fantastique que cette photo-là. Vraiment bien réussi. Here we have another. This one is this one's a sepia. So this one here, Fab has, post-processed it in sepia, which gives that little bit of the brown quality to the image, which is a beautiful shot. We got this one here. His theme was Photo de Rue, which is probably one of his excursions that he does with either Montreal North or RDP, because Fab goes out shooting a lot with his wife Giselle. Beautiful, beautiful shot. I love that it's when I say properly exposed here, there is absolutely no specular light in this image. Everything, even the highest or the brightest stone on the ground in this image, you see the original color, you see the original detail, you see the original structure of the stones. So beautifully shot, and I love the fact that here it's based on the shadow more so than it is on the person in that image. But this is a fantastic, fantastic street photo. And this is probably on Rue Saint-Paul in the, whatchamacallit, mais le Marché Beau-Secours in that area there in Old Montreal. Beautiful shot, Fab. Here we have a little photo montage from, again, Fab, which in this case is called Togetherness. And here the image is the leaves of the particular leaves of a plant is a beautiful shot. I love the way that it blends into the background a little bit, but not so much that you lose the form of the shapes of these elements of these leaves. Excuse me. Fantastic though, honestly. Here we have Dorchester. When Dorchester was Dorchester, I believe it's been renamed. Isn't Dorchester renamed now? Yeah, this is René Lévesque. But here you have the Basilique Marie-Reine du Monde. Evidently, this was probably during a very dead time in Montreal, because that street is extremely busy, especially in the last 6 months, I'd say, since Montreal has reopened their streets. But I love and look at the black and white. I mean, it's listen, what can I say? It just plays so well when it comes to street photography. This is really nice. Really good shot there, Fab. This is I know this one. This is the park. Is it Dorchester Park? I don't know if it's Dorchester Park. Oh, wait a minute. He says that, yeah, this is. If I move the cursor. Okay, now Fab, this would have been nice if you would have given us a little bit of an inkling of how you did this one, but it was probably done with your phone, because this is interesting. So you can move within the image to a certain limit. That's really nice. Fantastic shot there, Fab. There they are, the Inseparable 2. Début du projet Argentique 2022. So, Fab initiated a project. Fabrizio a initié un projet qui va durer 12 mois en février. And this poor, this poor photographer over here, being as procrastinated as he is a little bit late on this project, but I'm also participating in it. And the idea here was that we shoot 2 images, take a 24 exposure film, stick it in a camera, leave it in the camera for a year, and only shoot 2 images per month. Now, what Fab's going to do with these images, whoever participate in this project, Fab is going to take all of the images that we develop of the 24 roll, and we're going to make a mosaic of 4x6s, and he's gonna find a place somewhere in Montreal where we'll be able to present them as one huge mosaic image. So it'll be interesting to see how and what we're going to do with this. I know I'm part of it. I think Mark might be part of it. Mark Alari, Giselle, and Fab. I know that a few people in the RDP Argentique group are going to be part of it too. So, and this was started in February. So this is going on until February of, or I should say January, end of January 2023. So we'll see what this brings us. Here we have Fabrizio with he's got this one's called Préhistorie. So and I recognize justement these are all members of the RDP Photo Club, but also the RDP Argentique. I believe that's Manny on the left, Fab in to his right, Chantal, and is it Robert? I forget. I think or René. I think if I remember correctly, in front of a graffiti here in Montreal. Beautiful shot. I love the treatment on the colors too. Is really well. It's got that kind of a how we say a kind of a not a glowy, not a voile, but like not a veil, but a kind of a, there's a certain glow about this image that really works with it. Here we have a touch of light. And here in a church, it's a beautiful shot. I'm wondering if this is a church in Terrebonne. It looks familiar. But again, it's a nice shot. I like the way that he played with the foreground, l'avant-plan, qui est flou, versus le netteté vers le sujet, pas vers le sujet, mais je veux dire vers le fond. Même que lui-même, il est... ça c'est un autoportrait quand même, mais très bien, très bien intéressant puis très bien représenté dans cette photo-là. Ah, texture. The beauty about doing macro photography is all the texture that we can go and get. And here we see positive versus negative space, and the utilization between shapes. You know, you have the half square blue, and the contrast between that baby blue and the kind of yellow brownish color there too. You know, let it be said that you could photograph anything. You can find a story in anything that you shoot. Okay, but surtout, it's got to be intentional. A photographer creating a photograph is a photograph that has an intentional message to it. Capturing an image, you know, that's the difference between what we always play with the phrase to take a picture versus creating a picture, creating an image. Photography for me has always been the creation of images, more so than capturing of images. We capture a moment within the image that we create, absolutely. And street photography is also this. It's the creation of the images that we are waiting for, that we want to capture. It's not just presenting yourself on the spot in place and just click. You know, it's and then hoping, and we call that spraying and praying, hoping that we get the image and the right image to depict that moment. That was something that was, and it comes straight down to marketing. It comes down to capitalism. It comes down to, and what is it? It's the camera companies that are forcing you to purchase more, better, and keep them in business also. But photography is way more than that. It's always been much more than that. Oh, beautiful. I love this. Another sepia image, street photography. Being, alone in the streets. We can see how desolate at some points in time in the past Montreal has been over the COVID. This is, I mean, it's beautiful. As much as the sky is completely washed out, that's not the principal element here. Ici, l'élément principal, malgré que Fabrizio, de la façon qu'il a pris cette photo-là, le ciel nous emmène plus loin dans la rue, que on visionne jusqu'à l'infini, jusqu'à le fond pour voir qu'est-ce qui est là. C'est vraiment, vraiment bien représenté, même avec la petite vignette sur les côtés. T'sais. Beautiful night shot here. Look at how the light on the other side of the alley, in the street is lighting the silhouette and is literally creating un contre-jour alentour de la tête de cette modèle-là. And I do say model because I'm pretty sure he didn't find somebody standing there looking at a blank wall. Or reading that poor sign there, no parking deux côtés. Oh, this is beautiful too. It's a beautiful shot, although I will say, Fab. And this is argentique, so he shot this with film, but the focus is just a little bit off. We can see that the eyes, and I rarely do this, but the eyes are out of focus. But it's still, in a sense, this still works because, film was not as precise and is not as precise, although I'm in the process of making some tests myself. Oh, I can go closer in here. And a lot of times too, sometimes the focus wasn't the fact that it was intentionally missed the autofocus, but some cameras worked on a focusing technique called hyperfocal length. And the hyperfocal was always based on your aperture. And my little Raleigh, mind you, I use hyperfocal focusing method. I've been using it since at least the last 2 years since I started going back to film photography, because that imprecision, it still allows me to capture the moments that I want to capture. What the hell? And basically what it is I'm going to see if I can show you on this one here, on my little Raleigh. So if I were to shoot at f/16, the whole point is, I'm going to just switch over to the main camera so I can see what it is you're going to see. But I'm going to show you here. You see that distance scale on the end of the lens? Well, the infinity symbol, I set it to f/16. And if I set my aperture to f/16, that means that, and I'm going to look at it because I can see it better here, from about 6.5 feet in front of me all the way to infinity. Sorry, I'm going to bring the mic closer. So at f/16, if I set infinity at f/16, that means on this particular lens at 40 millimeters, from about 6.5 feet all the way to infinity, it is going to be sharp. As sharp as can be for a distance, if my subject is exactly at, I would say, 15 feet. Okay? Because I don't know if you'll see it again. I'll try to show you again here. No, wait a minute. There we go. You see where the triangle is? It's in between 10 and 20. Well, I have to be able to visually place my subject at 15 feet. So if we were a foot off, if the subject was a foot behind, 2 feet behind, a foot in front, technically it fell in the same focus, the same sharpness, la même netteté, la même mise au point pour la plage de profondeur de champ. Now, in this particular case, it could have been that maybe Fab used hyperfocal to determine his focusing. Or, I mean, it could have been also that, Fab might have used a much larger aperture than expected, which gave him a shorter focal, a shorter depth of field. I just want to see how things are looking over here. Stream health. We're still good on stream health? Yes, we are. Fantastic. Okay, good. Okay. So, yeah, definitely. We're going to continue. I just realized that we've been going on already now for an hour, but we have a little bit more to go, so let's keep going. Here's a scan from a slide, a diapo. And, listen, slides are meant to be viewed through a projector, at a certain size. Sometimes scans take a little bit away from the. It also depends on the style, but I'm going to be doing some episodes on that pour comment numériser comme il faut les diapos puis les pellicules. Fait que ça va donner quelque chose, quelques sujets à parler cette année. Oops, sorry, I'm on the wrong one here. Well, here we go. Oh, beautiful! This is beautiful, argentique. Another film, and we have a priest standing at the door of a church. Beautiful shot here. Fab, beautiful man, fantastic. Al Capone, Columbo. Lumière abstrait. That is an interesting shot. I love the abstractness of this. Oh my God, sorry. Thanks, Mark. Okay, let me go back. Hold on. I will go back. Main screen. We're going to put this back to screen 2. So so we had this one here. Right? Yeah. And now we're going to go. So this was the photo of a little tyke here with his cars on the table. But you see, even the fact that, actually, you know what? I think it does. I think it is this. It's the focus, because this part of the table here looks sharper, which is more or less in front of our subject here. But still, even though the focus is missed, it still works for this particular image. It also depends on how much ISO was used. This was the slide, a color slide that was shot of this mural. Here we have a priest in front of his church, in front of the entrance of his church. And even the speckled light on his, I can't remember what we call the sash over his shoulders, but it almost looks like it's been illuminated by a godly light. Here we have Fab in his his Columbo getup. Now I don't know if it's a treatment or if he actually dressed up as Columbo for whatever reason. Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, that almost looks like Al's kitchen at the restaurant. Here we have some ice shot. I guess I'm assuming it's some ice shot through water. It's really nice. These types of images really, it makes me stop and think and analyze the image. The lighting is fantastic. All those tous les petits éclatements de lumière là, c'est vraiment intéressant. Giselle. Beautiful black and white portrait here. All that empty space and the eye stops on her right eye. It's really, really nice. And notice again though, her eye is in focus. Her eye is, when it comes to portraits, if you miss, si tu manques les yeux, tu manques ta shot. I don't care if you took 40 shots. That means you missed 40 shots. Okay? I got no problem telling people that I'm sorry to say this, but you missed your shot. You should have taken a quick look, a quick peek, just to check and see if those eyes were properly focused. Here we have Ottawa in 2021, shot by Mark in black and white. Fantastic shot, Mark. I love it. You know, out of curiosity, and I don't ask this because c'est hyper important. It's just when it comes to these types of shots, I like to know what was the shutter speed specifically. Was it handheld? You know what I mean? It's just out of curiosity, especially for the novice photographers out there. They always want to know. They're always questioning, how was it shot? What did you use? But this is a perfectly beautiful, and black and white works just as well at night as it does que le jour, que le soir. Le noir et blanc marche très bien. Et souvent, puis c'est pas nécessairement la façon de faire du noir et blanc, mais surtout le noir et blanc, ça l'annule un peu plus le bruit qui est causé par le capteur couleur. You can actually nullify the noise that's created by a color sensor. It's not the way to do it, or I should say not the way to shoot black and white. It is a consequence of black and white, is that you lose that noise. Yes, here we have some ICM, which I learned earlier this week, is intentional camera movement. I was helping a friend of mine on one of his channels. I'm sure many of you know him, Denis Germain. He does a weekly photography analysis show of about an hour and a half, and a little bit like what I do here, but he has his members present during the episode so that he can interact with them directly. There was also a member who did this kind of a shot here. So ICM is intentional camera movement, or mouvement d'appareil photo par exprès. C'est que qu'est-ce qu'on fait, c'est qu'on prend l'appareil, and as we shoot, we move the camera down, or we move the camera up, or we move the camera from one side to the next while we shoot a long exposure. And typically, you want to follow. They're normally shot on the vertical because it's trees in this particular image here. There was a person walking, because if you look here, this is the silhouette of a person here. This is again a very interesting shot. I love it. Christophe with a beautiful soul isolated tree, and if I'm not mistaken, this looks so familiar. I wonder if this was at Parc de la Cité here in Saint-Hubert. And it's really cute because you've got a little track over here of probably a squirrel or some kind of little animal. Christophe, une petite chose sur ça ici, tu aurais besoin d'un nettoyage de capteur parce qu'il y a un poussière ici, il y a un poussière là, un poussière ici et un poussière ici sur ton capteur. Tu en as un autre ici, je pense. Fait que ça serait peut-être temps de faire nettoyer ton capteur. Mais voilà, c'est très... Oh, here I'm not... I didn't even look at the... But justement, bonjour, voici une photo de la Parc de la Cité. I know that park because one of the excursions that I do is called... one of the excursions, I should say. One of the classes that I give is... it's a 6-day class. It's a 6-event class of 3 hours. And the last class, it's called Technique de Base. And the last class is an excursion where we actually practice what we learned over the last 5 sessions. And this is the park that I use. And même à ça, c'est que vu que j'ai tellement une bonne entente avec mon directeur chez Gosselin ici à 10h30, quand les gens veulent faire du photo d'animaux ou de photos d'oiseaux, normalement, on s'en va là pour une quarantaine de minutes, puis on pratique un peu de photos d'oiseaux ou photos bon, normalement, c'est photos d'oiseaux, mais quand même. C'est une très belle parc quand même. It's a young park because as you can see, the trees are very scattered and they're very young trees, but still, it's a very interesting park. On to the next. Here we have a beautiful black and white night image here from Fabrizio. Another subject taking a gander at a graffiti tag. Now I've heard of this place. I cannot remember. It's a church. It's an actual archaeological or historical site. The church has no roof. Anybody apparently can go there. I still have to. I got to check with Marc Meunier. Je pense knows where it is. He showed it to me last time we got together at Al's there with the film club. Christophe, Pont Samuel de Champlain. So he took this shot of, and I believe that's Nuns Island. Those are the three towers on Nuns Island. From the, he was on the Champlain Bridge, the new Champlain Bridge, on one of the lookouts. Uncle Bob with his granddaughter. Beautiful shot here. I love this shot. The eyes it just talks so much. Beautiful, beautiful shot. See, I will just say one thing though. It's a little bit bright on the flash here on her face. But other than that, it's beautiful, beautiful shot. I really do like it. Now I can tell that you added a certain blur because it's just too clean here. You see where her her dress, where her chain is, and then all of a sudden I can see the line where that in this particular case, because it was a post-processing filter, would have just to make this more graduated. Other than that, it's a beautiful shot. And again, it's not that I pick. It's not that I pick. Tu sais, je suis pas là pour, but je vois tellement de photos dans ma journée, dans ma semaine, that these things just become, the more and more I see, the more and more I pop on them. It's just, but it's a beautiful shot. It not that it takes away, it doesn't take away from the image at all. It's just that little bit more, precision helps. Beautiful shot over here. The quality of the lighting here at a sunset, un coucher de soleil. La netteté est bien placée sur les sujets principaux. La profondeur de champ aussi. Fabrizio with one of his, I think this is one of his portrait sessions. Again, playing with different filters, playing with different, beautiful, beautiful shot here. The lighting's a little strong again on her face, but still works. Notice how the lighting being that strong takes away from the features, from the depth of her nose. Here we have a selective color photo from Christophe. As you can see, what he did was he shot the way that he shot the image. It was a coucher de soleil. Ça l'était un coucher de soleil à Montréal. Puis qu'est-ce qu'il a fait, c'est qu'il a pris tous les éléments carrés, les bâtisses, puis il les a tous mis en noir et blanc. Puis il a gardé quand même le ciel derrière, en couleur. Très intéressant. I got mom there who put a nice comment there. Here another member, Amy, asking, do I dare enter? It's kind of foreboding, that entrance there on that wall, but it's beautiful. This is a pinhole. This I can tell right away off the bat. This is a pinhole shot. Um, Obviously, see, you can also see, because the pinhole in a pinhole camera, the focus is actually done on the sensor itself. What you're seeing, those little kind of speckles, or I can zoom in there to show you. But that's almost the texture to the actual sensor, because don't forget, the sensor being left open for the long exposure that he did here creates that noise. And you can tell that it's a pinhole, because you see the dusts, you see each dust element, each shape and form of those dust particles on the sensor itself. You've got one here, we've got one here, right? That's one of the problems with digital pinhole photography, is because the actual focus is being done directly on the sensor. That's what it creates. Now, to give you an example, this is probably a shot that the pinhole itself measured approximately, or the equivalent of an f240 or an f230, 230, f230 at 240. I've got one pinhole that, when I use it at its widest angle, is at 230, and it comes out at 90 millimeters, approximately to 460 or 470, en fonction du f, which I will be using at International Pinhole Day. And the shorter the exposures, obviously, the image doesn't have time to form on the sensor, so we come out with much more abstract images. Beautiful pinhole. But you have to like pinhole too, because it does leave a lot to the imagination. It can be very abstract. It's really not sharp, but again, that's what Camera Obscura was. Camera Obscura, il n'y avait pas d'objectif dans le temps. C'était juste des trous que la lumière passait à travers, puis faisait une image sur un plan focal à l'arrière de l'appareil. Beautiful shot over here too. Nice portrait here. Model looking into the window light, lighting her face. Très bien, très bien. Puis tu sais, d'avoir tout le blanc de la fenêtre en balance avec tout ce qui est sombre. Here we have, ça c'est la chute, pas la chute, excusez, c'est pas la chute, c'est la, voyons, the dam at, this looks like Terrebonne, voyons, again, see, Terrebonne, Île des Moulins. Here is, I'm going to make an event so that you guys, if you want to register to the event, you can. But it's Worldwide Pinhole Day, le 24 avril, la journée mondiale de la spinopée. Puis on va se rejoindre aux îles des Moulins à 10h le 24. Fait que si ça vous intéresse, s'il vous plaît, venez nous rejoindre. Here we have Mark with a beautiful, beautiful silhouette image. I love silhouette images because it's the form. Excuse me. I need more juice. So here again, the principal image here is the crow on the chimney, or on the vent, I should say. But it really works really, really nice. Now here, I don't know if Mark went to Park Omega, but you see again, and I've gone back to doing some of my photo club conferences. I visited a club in Saint Jean. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? I was present at Denis, a good friend of mine's Photo Club online. Questions I have here, first off, are always when I see the exposure at f3.5. Attends, j'ai vu un commentaire de Monsieur Dumais-Blais. Puis-je inviter à votre... Oui, absolument. Absolument, Monsieur Dumais-Blais. Je pensais que je vous avais déjà envoyé une invitation. Mais tantôt, je vais t'ajouter tout de suite. Attends, you know what? Donne-moi 2 secondes. Je vais faire ça tout de suite pendant que je jase de cette photo-là. Attendez. Ça doit être celui-là. Lui. Rejoint invité. Puis c'est Luc Olivier. Je te fais ça tout de suite. There we go. Et maintenant, vous allez pouvoir vous ajouter tout de suite Puis en passant, for those who are interested, we're already at 117 people, 117 members of photographie with AJ. Yeah, on est rendu maintenant avec Monsieur Dumais-Blais. On va être à 118 personnes. Fait que c'est fantastique. On the YouTube channel, we are now... we're now 151 users. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Oh, this was shot. I see Mark's comment now. The Echo Museum. Echo Museum. But again, ma question ici, c'est quand même, when I see these settings, why 3.5? And secondly, well, I can understand the 100 ISO at 1/800th of a second to 3.5, but why 3.5? You could have still done a fantastic shot at 5.6 and say at 400, or at f4 at actually f4 would probably been closer to 400 ISO, and 5.6 would have probably been somewhere around 800 ISO, and you still would have gotten the same shutter speed. Now, the reason that I make these comments is because photography is more than just capturing the light. It's seeing how the light is affected by time. Now, Monsieur Blais, il a déjà pris des cours avec moi en privé. Puis quand j'introduis la triangle exposition, je monte en fonction de comment est-ce que le temps réagit avec la lumière. C'est pas juste d'aller chercher la plus grande ouverture because you think you need the most light. You now have, in digital photography, you have 3 variables that you can play with. Not one constant and 2 variables. You have now 3. And the beauty about digital photography today is that you're not limited as we were limited in the film era. Because of the grain that was created in different sensitivities of films, we were very limited at to what point we could. But as I'm saying, your 3.5, I can see that it's a smaller depth of field here, but you still didn't need the 3.5 to create the same image. What would have happened is that if you would have just upped your ISO or even gone down and used a 1/400th of a second, because I'm pretty sure you were at a 200 millimeter, unless all of a sudden now Mark's got the 100-400 or the 150-600. I'm not sure if he added something new to his arsenal of photographic equipment. But why pick the 1/800th of a second when the dog or the wolf or the it's either it's more a dog or a wolf. He is standing still. He's looking at you. That's, you know what I'm saying? So most photography classes and most photography instructors are always forcing you to use high shutter speeds, but he ain't moving. Therefore, why use the 1/800th of a second? I could have stayed at even at 1/800. I could have brought it down to 1/400th of a second. I could have put it at, so 1/800. I could have put it, so 3.5. That would have been, so f4, 4.5 would have given me 1/400th of a second. And I probably would have even had a softer light, because that's what I'm talking about when I talk about light. Time affects light differently at different speeds. When you have, and I'm not talking about motion blur. Motion blur, there's no motion blur here. He's breathing, yes. He might even be panting, but I don't see any stress on his face. And he has a faster heartbeat than we have. But at 1/400th of a second, even at 1/200th of a second at 100 millimeters, would have been more than enough to freeze this dog in the position that he's in. Now, I understand, being, newer to the, the mechanics of photography. But I also want you to see how you can play with the mechanics of photography, because that is truly where you will excel in your photography, is experimenting with what shutter speeds do I truly need to be able to have that quasi motion, or freezing that motion, or having that quasi motion blur that's just not enough to deteriorate the photo, the image, or the story. But how much can I make that light just that little bit softer, because I allow it a little bit more time to enter the camera. Okay, so I leave you all with this notion or exercise to practice till our next viewing, because we have already reached, what have we reached now? We've been going now for an hour and a half. Wow. Okay, so I'm still within my limits here. But Mark, it is a beautiful shot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not I'm not crapping on your photo just because I didn't take the shot. No, not at all. But I am trying to motivate you to see other aspects of the mechanics of photography. And because you're a friend of mine, and where we are close, and I can pick at you a little bit more. You know what though? Come to think of it, it might be an interesting idea that I get a little bit more. I like what Denis does with his. I don't want to copy him, obviously, mais j'aime bien d'avoir peut-être faire ça en Zoom la prochaine fois avec les invités, puis que vous pouvez tout de suite me donner un feedback de mes commentaires que je fais sur vos photos. Puis aussi, j'ai commencé, if you guys have checked out my, my Instagram feed, I have started to slowly post. This week I posted I think I posted 5 or 6 images from my first film that I developed from my, where is it? Is it here? Yeah, it's here. From my beautiful vintage 1954. You know what? We don't need that anymore. My 1954 vintage Leica DRP 3F, which really blew me away when I developed it. But so you can take a look at some of the images that were shot from that camera on my Instagram feed. I will load them here, probably actually maybe even later today. But I have some newer images from this week. And if you do see me, si jamais vous passez chez Gosselin, puis tu me vois dans mon aquarium, justement, venez me voir, parce que j'ai toujours un bon paquet d'impressions, des petites impressions de 5 écarts par 8 pouces, 8,5, je veux dire 8,5 de large, que j'essaie de faire des impressions à chaque semaine, au moins genre, 3 à 5 ou 6 par semaine, juste pour être capable de montrer les gens de la qualité d'impression, qu'est-ce que ça donne en photographie. And if you do decide to join up our group with the film, you every month I'll be having prints that you can have a look at, which is really nice too, because Fab brought in, I think he brought in 4 or 5 12 by 18 prints that we all looked at that were matted, and it really is impressive to see still what printing, the quality that printing can it still has in photography compared to seeing it on a screen or on a tablet or on a phone for that matter. But yeah, definitely. So I leave you with have a wonderful month, everybody. Like I said, if you want to submit ideas, if you have specific questions that you would like me to answer on the live, because the lives and recordings will be more and more frequent as time goes on this year. I really want to bring that. I really want to come back to doing the lives more frequently, yeah, definitely. So if I were also to suggest a current photographer, to have a look at her, I've been listening to her on various podcasts that I listen to frequently. She's on. I've actually asked her to expose with us at Zestrant next year, in my next exhibition calendar, for the exhibitions that we hang up in our classrooms. Her name is Jess Hobbs. She is currently, I believe, she has her own YouTube channel, which is fantastic. I think I binge watched it 4 or 5 times already. She's got about 50 episodes, I think, on it. And she's also on CCR, Classic Camera Revival, I think it's called, Torontonian based podcast, which is really, really interesting too. I think it goes every other week or every week. My podcast is still in the making, mostly because I'm looking for there's so many podcasts out there, and there's so many YouTube channels out there. Sometimes it's a little bit intimidating, but I got to get past that myself and just produce my own content, my way, and my way of doing things, to make it more and more me. But je veux tout vous remercier pour votre participation. Comme je vous dis, si vous avez des questions, if you have questions, by all means, please submit them through photo questions, plural, at andrew-james.ca. The email address is PHOTOQUESTIONS at andrew-james.ca. PHOTOQUESTIONS en commercial andrew-james.ca. And with that, I bid you farewell. Thank you again for your participation. Merci pour votre participation. Et puis, on se revoit très bientôt à la prochaine épisode. Merci à tous et bon samedi.